we did the flowchart, the first question in two different methods, like to indicate that it can be approached in different ways. And we did the second program to find the larger number, so which illustrated a selection. And we did the fourth one as another selection to recognize, to figure out whether the particular marks, whether marks are being provided to display whether is it a pass or a fail. And we went on figuring out the even number, odd number representation due to a given particular value. And then we start to discuss about the iteration, right? So for the iteration, we took the very first example that we had, which was creating a cup of tea. And we discussed how the this particular iteration is going to happen, right? And we discuss about the Sanduni and Anupama's question as well, like dividing the books among two sisters, right? And then we went with this particular question, and as I remember, we finished discussing this. And you people, did you draw this thing by yourself, people? Did you add this into your books? Yes, anyone? Can you confirm whether you have drawn this into your books or not? You did, right? Okay, great. Yes, great. All right. So today, let's go further with two more questions. And I think you can remember the situation we discussed about this kind of, the importance of this kind of equations when it comes to the iteration. Now I'll remind it to you again. We write this kind of equation to indicate. Now, if we discuss the specific equation that we have written here, what we are saying is like add the value to the existing total and make it the new total. That is what this is all about, right? And I told you there can be many different ways on this nature, in like many different equations on this nature. Like as an example, I told you like there can be situations like C equals C plus 1. Like, yeah. So what does this mean, people? Yes. So how this affects on the flow chart, or like the particular, regarding the particular flow. Yes, Udamya. So we can explain this as count equal count plus 1 as well. So this is the way we generally increase the value by 1 of a particular variable, right? So this says increase the value of C, or like add 1 to the value of C and assign it to the C again. So in case if you need to increase a value of a particular variable 1 by 1, this is how we are going to write it. All right. Now, for you to understand, I'm giving you this small question where you can type your answer onto the chat box. So if I take a variable called X, if I need to increase the value of x by 1, how the equation is going to be? Yes, how we should write the equation? Yes, very good, Pehara. That should be the way. Yes, others? Yes, Sudhamya, that is correct. Yes, Sanditi, that's correct. Yes, very good. Very good. Yes, Dinaka, that is correct. Okay, Chanuri, yes, that's the correct one. So, Samitu, well done. That's the correct one. Okay, now, in case if we want to increase the value of x by 3 by 3, how we are going to write that? Yes, when we need to increase the value of x by 3. Yes, Pehara, very good. That should be the answer. Right? Yes, Sudhamya, that is correct. Samitu, Samitu, it's not 2, Samitu. You need to increase it 3 by 3. So x equals x plus 3. Yes, Sanditi, that is the answer. So we can write x equals x plus 3. Thank you, Susu. Right? Now, now let's think that there is a particular variable called sum. I need to reduce the value of sum 2 by 2. Reduce the value of sum 2 by 2. How we are going to write that? Very good, Udamya. Yeah, that should be the way. Yes, Pehara, that is the way. Very good. So if we need to reduce the value of sum 2 by 2, it's going to be sum equals sum minus 2. Simple as that. Right? Okay. Now, likewise, I'm having a variable called p. I need p to be divided 2 by 2. How we are going to write that? Very good, Behara. That is the way that we are picking up the yes. Yes, Udamya, very good. Sanditi, very good. So we are going to write it how? P equals P divide by 2. Right? So simple as that. So this is the way that we are going to deal with a particular variable if it's going to be increased or decreased or multiplied or divide by a particular value or variable. Now, one last question. Now, let's say there is a variable called x and there is another variable called a, x and a. And I need the value of x needs to be increased by the value of a in each iteration. How we are going to write that? The value of x is going to be increased the value of a. Very good, Udamya. Yes, now you people got the rhythm, right? So if the value of x needs to be increased by a, the variable a, Sanditi, since it is an increment, it's the addition we should use, Dua. If it is going to be a multiplication, then only we are going to use the star or a multiply mark, right? Yes, Pehara, that is correct. So we are going to write x equals x plus a. Simple as that, right? So it's something very similar. We write over here, right? Total equals total plus value, right? So it says increase the value of total by value. Simple as that. Okay, very good. Now the next question is this. I'm going to type the question. You better write the question on your book and try to draw the flow chart. Right? So the question is like this: draw a flow chart to take positive integers one at a time, and to a small modification to this question, and to count the number of integers and to display the count of positive integers. Yeah, so I have done a small modification. So now in this program, what you have to do is you should write a program to take positive integers. I mean, you have to draw the flow chart to take positive integers. Then those positive integers need to be counted. That means at the end of the day, at the end of the program, your program should display, if you have given 3 numbers, your output should be 3. If you are given 5 numbers, your output should be 5. Now you don't have a request or a requirement of getting the total of the positive numbers. This time what I am asking is take the amount of numbers that I have entered, right? Or the count of positive integers, the total count of the positive integers when during the program. So the program should end. That means you should move to the, or you should direct to the display in the count when the user provide a 0 or a negative value. Are you clear with the requirement? Okay, so give it a try. It's something very similar to the previous one. So have that in your mind. I'll give you 5 minutes to try this thing. If you came up with a solution, you can send me a photograph through WhatsApp so I can go through, right? After 5 minutes, I'm going to draw the this particular thing, right? So give it a try. Give it a try. Yes. Do we have any answers? Or do you need more time? Okay. So shall we go for the drawings? Yes, now I'm going to take the help of this flow chart. So what are we going to do here is like, we don't need the total. So I'm getting rid of it. And as the question says, it is asking you to enter a value, a positive value. So you should check whether it is a positive or a negative value, because if it is positive, then only you are going to count that. If it is not a positive, then you are not going to count it. Instead of that, you are going to end it in the program. So you start, you enter a value, and you check whether that value is large, less than or equals to 0. If it is no, then what are we going to do? I think I received a particular answer. Let me see. Yes. Okay. Yes. Udamya, you came very near to the answer. Only one particular place which went wrong. So now when I enter a particular value, so as an example, let's say I entered 10. Right, so 10 is definitely not less than or equal to 0. So it comes to the process. We don't need the totaling part. Instead of that, we need the counting part. So I'm saying add 1 to my count. So before I enter any value, I have nothing in my count. So count is 0, right? So when I'm providing with a value, when the program is provided with a value, so it says you got a one particular value, so that means your count should be increased by 1. Now in programmatically, how we are going to write this? We should increase the count variable by 1. So we have to say count equals count plus 1. So since in the very first time, we are adding a particular value, right? When it is asked to be count the values, so when it is positive, I need to increase the count by 1. So this is the way that I'm going to express that programmatically. Right, so we enter a value, we check whether it is positive 1, that means not a 0 or a negative. If it is not, then I'm going to increase my count by 1. So at the initial point, when you are provided with the very first value, your count, when the count is being, when the count is trying to update or like increase their value, what is the initial value that they are catching up? Does it, you can write it not the equal plus, you can write it like plus equals. Right, so the very first time when a value is given, so we are going to update my count from 0 to 1. So 0 is my starting point. So 0 needs to be defined then. So here I have to say count equals 0. Right. Yes, Osal, that's correct. So now the count is equal to 0. It is asking for a value. It checks whether a value is a negative or equal to 0. If it is, it's going to display not the total this time, it's the count. Right. And then we can end. Right, you can connect this to here. Connect this dots to here. Right, then we can arrange it. Right, so we can have the end over here. Okay, people, is that clear? How we deal with the count? Right, okay, so have this. This shows you how we are going to count the number of variables that is being input. I'll give you 2 minutes for copying it down. Then we are going to the one last question from the iteration. Let me know when you are done, people. Okay. Yeah, Sasrika, let me see. Yes, Sasrika, I received it. Yes. Yes, that is correct. Yes, that is correct, Sasrika. So is there anyone who is still copying from the screen? Yes, anyone who is still drawing this? Okay, so let's move forward. Drawing the one last question. So here comes the next question. Right, is this clear? Draw a flow chart to take positive integers and to display the total of positive integers and average of given positive numbers. Right, so it's kind of the combination of the 7th program and the count program. Right, there's that sum program. Somehow I have missed it. No mind. All right, so I'll give you another 5 minutes for do this. Right, it's the combination of the previous 2 questions. Right, so how we are going to calculate the average of 3 numbers, people? Yes, yes, Behara, Udamya, those are correct. So if we are given a particular number series, the total will be divided by number of integers or number of values that I have given. Right? Okay, keep that in mind and give it a try. Now it's 3:09. I'm going to discuss this by starting 3:15. So I'm allowing you 6 minutes. We'll see. If you are done with the particular one, just send me the answer, right? Yes, people, do you need more time, or like shall we go for the diagrams? Yes, do you need more time? Okay, you'll stay there. Do you need more time, or can we go for it? Okay, I think Pehara has sent me an answer. Let me see. Okay. Right, okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, Pehara, well done. You have gone in the very correct way. Very good. Very good. Right. So, yeah, let's discuss this, people. So I'm going to draw a very fresh diagram so you can capture the things. So I'm going to take the start. Okay, that's very nice. Right, so I started. And what's next, people? After start.
Daddy, that's you. I took a picture of you.
Thank you.
With the blue t-shirt. That looks funny.
Go and take off a mix. Udamya, I received your answer as well. Let me see. Yes. Yes, Udamya, it's like 95% your attempt is okay. The only thing that you have went wrong, actually it's not a incorrect one. We don't need to calculate the average inside the iteration dual, because if you put the calculation inside the iteration, we are going to average per iteration, per each and every iteration dual. Without that, we can do the calculation of average once after we done the totaling part and the counting part, right? So let's see. Susu, Ami is calling. Go and take pictures of Ami. Show your pictures to Ami, America.
You can't stay. No, I will stay here.
I will stay there. Okay. So we start, people. Then we are going to do what? Yes, others. Now you have to participate with this.
Daddy, can you hold this?
Yes, so after start, what is the thing that we need to do?
Wow!
Yes, okay, Udamya.
You popped it all.
How about others?
There's some more on the other side.
That is in the class. Don't disturb them.
Oh, these can be mine.
Okay, so if we think generally, we need the positive integer, right? So we can say input a positive integer. Now the people who have sent me the answer have some differences. It will be there, people. So since I'm doing this for everyone to get understand. So input a positive integer. So I have given. So we have to check whether that integer is like, without saying positive integer, we can say just integer. Then we are going to check whether that integer is positive or not. Because the question says, take the total of only the positive integers, right? So then I can ask the question, is, in my case, integer. It's better I take as value, will be much generalized, right? So I'm taking is value. This time I'm asking larger than 0. So this is my question. Is value larger than 0? So if it is true, what should I do? If it is true, what should I do? Yes, everyone? If it is true, what should I do? What kind of a process should I carry out? Yes, Sudhamya, very good. Yeah, I need the answers from others. What do we need to do? Yes, people, give it a shot, give it a try. Yes, Sanditi, we have to find the total. Yes, Osanda, that's right. We have to calculate the total. How we are going to write it? Over here. We are going to say total equals total plus what? Total plus value. Very good. So the total is calculated. Is it enough? We need the, we have to output the total and the average. To do the average, to calculate the average, what we should do? We should count the number of values. Yes, Osanda, that's right. So how we are going to count it? Like we did in the previous example. Like here, yes, Sandit, yes, that's the one. And that's it. If we say average equals sum divided by 2, that's going to be a problem, Putha, because we don't know how many input values will be there given by the user. Because we have to take the inputs until the user inputs 0 or a negative value. No? So we can't guarantee that he only gives 2 values. Maybe he will go for 3, maybe he will go for 5. So that's right. People, just a second. That's right. That's it. You have to do sum. Average can be calculated when the sum is divided by number of inputs. Sanditi, if we display the total inside the iteration, it's going to be a problem to it. Because after inputting the value, we update the total and we have to update the count. Because, like, do you remember the total example that we did? So in the iteration, we update the total, and once we exit from the iteration, we display the total. If we are going to display the total inside the iteration, we are going to see many totals, right? Because it is for each and every iteration, it's going to show you a total. Sandhiti, are you getting that? Right. So because of that, now I added the value which is given to the given by the user. Then I have to count. Okay, you have given me, the user has provided me one particular value, right? So here I am counting it. So I can say count equals count plus 1. So now the given value is added to the total, and that value is being counted. Right? Now what we should do? We have to take another input value. And since we are having this kind of equations, we have to define a value for the total, initial value for the total, and we have to define initial value for the count. Right? So that means we need a process specifying the total. It's better I go with the simple one, equals 0, as well as I can take count equals 0. Right? So now I can connect the dots. So flow comes from here to here, and it initializes and take the inputs. And when the count is done, it's going to iterate. And that happens on which path? This happens on the years path of the condition. Am I correct? Is it the years path? Yes, people? Should it be the yes path or the no path? It should be in yes path. Very good. Okay, then let's worry about the no path now. So on the no path, what are we going to do? We can calculate the average. So I can say average equals, now I have total, I have calculated during my iteration. So I can divide my final value of the total by this final value for the count. Like this. Right? So after this, I am calculating the average. Now I can display the things. So I'm taking an input-output shape, and I'm taking display total, and I say display average. And it's better you use the exact letters and the cases where you have used earlier, right? Right, so we can say display total and display average. So simple as that. And I'm connecting dots. So now I can end the program. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Yes, everyone, is that clear? Yes, Chanuri, දුව අපි ES එක ඇතුලේ average එක හෙව්වොත් දුව වෙන්නේ අපි iterate වෙන හැම පාරකටම average එක calculate කරනවා. අපිට එහෙම ඕනේ නෑ නේද? ඒ කියන්නේ අපි හිතන්නකො මෙතනට මම 10 input කරනවා. එතකොට එක number එකයි. then මම total එක 10 වෙනවා මගේ count එක 1 වෙනවා. then මම average calculate කරොත් 10 divide by 1. then next number එක input කරනවා 20. 20 එකතු කරනවා total එකට. එතකොට 20 plus 10 30. count එක 2යි. then again we calculate the average 30 divided by 2 50. එහෙම ඕනේ නෑ නේද දුව? Chanuri, is that clear? Right, great. Okay, so if you got any mistakes, you can do the arrangements. I'll give you 2 minutes to do the to correct the mistakes, right? So then we'll go to the pseudocode part, right? And if there is any question regarding this, you can ask always. No problem. Pehara, you can display the total, then calculate the average, then display the average later. No problem. Yes, Sasrika, let me go through it. Sasrika, yeah, now the problem is, Sasrika, you have, I'll show you where you have went wrong. Sasrika, you have drawn the arrow from here, right? So count equal, the totaling is there. Counting part is, there are a few more problems here. Hold on. Let me take your answer to this point. Right, Sasrika, one problem lies over here. You are not going to connect with the total. Your iteration should connect over here, Buddha. නැත්තම් ඔයාගේ iteration එක දැන් ඔයා indicate කරලා තියෙන විදිහට per every iteration total is going to reset as 0. Did you get that, Sasrika?
Yes, sir.
Right. Then the next problem is we are not going to do something like this, Sasrika. Like total equals total plus value. It is a process. And process cannot have two outflows. Suhara, can you reduce the sound? Yeah, can you give it to Ami? Ami will reduce it for you. Go to Ami. Take it here, I will reduce it. Suhara, take it here, I will reduce it. Suhara, you are disturbing the Ayala Sanakala, so please, let me reduce it. Let me reduce the volume. Okay. And yeah, hold on, Sasrika. This takes time. Hold on. And here, Sasrika, you are not going to have two flows like over here and two over here. which is incorrect with them. You can't have two flows to a one particular process. The only symbol that you can have two flows is this. This, of course, can have two flows. Other than all the symbols, it's just one inflow and a one outflow. Got that, Putta?
Yes, sir.
And then, Sasrika, you have to add the counting part as well. Your number counting part is not here. Right? You can't have the number of values early in the flow chart because we don't know how much values are going to be there by the user. He will enter some random numbers. Once he inputs 0 or a negative, then only the totaling part and the counting part is going to finish. Right? So you have to do those corrections. So it's better you go with this. Right? And when you are drawing the when you are drawing the flow chart, you can change the order of these two. You can have count equal count plus 1, then total equals total plus value, no problem. Average should be calculated before you display the average, right? You can display the total in a separate output box. Then you can calculate the total, calculate the average. Then you can display the average later, right? Okay. Right. So others, is this okay with you? Do you got any more doubts? So it's good to clear your doubts before we proceed to the pseudocodes. Are we clear with this? Yes, everyone? All right, great. Okay, so now today we are going to talk about a new section called pseudocodes. So pseudocodes are the textual representation. Now earlier with the flow charts, we represent the algorithm in a graphical way, right? Now with the pseudocodes, we are going to represent the algorithm in textual manner, in simple words, right? So you can use any particular language. Now in your case, you have to use the English, and you express how the algorithm should go or how the algorithm should work, right? And when you are writing the pseudocode, there are some English terms that we are using to indicate the beginning of the pseudocode, like we indicate start on the flowchart, and there is the way to indicate the end of the pseudocode. So you can use end word for that, right? Then this input, read, get, those words as well as obtain can be used to indicate you are getting an input, right? So you can say input a number, obtain a number, read a number. Likewise, when you are trying to illustrate an output, you can use output or display or show kinds of words. You don't need to use the capitals, right? Here they have given these words in capital for you to recognize it clearly. You can use simple, doesn't matter, right? So these four things are very much to be considered and very much to be used. And this process calculate thing, you really don't need to go for it. You can just write the process, right? And this structure, if, then, else, and if, this is there to manage a selection. I think you can remember the selection. We'll go through that again when we are writing the pseudocodes. And again, for, do, while, and repeat until are there to handle an iteration, right? So these three things will handle the iteration in three different ways, right? Okay, so before we move to the pseudocodes, let's write about this particular note regarding the pseudocodes. Okay, so have the heading pseudocodes, and you can copy these things down. Let me know when you are done, people. All right, one is done. How about others? All right, is there anyone still right in this? Okay, so we are going to move forward. Right now, let's see how we are going to write the pseudocode. Now, it's very easy, people, right? Not that is not very hard. So, if I take the very first example that we did. Now, as per my knowledge, this is the first example we did, right? Can you confirm? Adding two numbers and displaying the total. Is it the first example we did, people? Yes, everyone? Is this the first example we did? Right, great, Sasrika. So when I'm converting this flow chart into a pseudocode, so look what happens. Start will be said as begin. Right, and these flow charts we know, it indicates what? A sequence. That means that things are happening one after the other, right? So begin, then I just indent the rest. So input two numbers, right? And I can say add two numbers together. To calculate total. And display total. And then I can put in. Simple as that. So look how simple it is. When it comes to a sequence, if we are given a flowchart and ask us to convert it to a pseudocode, so this is the way we are going to write it. No, Sasrika, it is not a must, Sasrika. We can have it in any particular case, right? So we simply write it. Okay? Is that clear, everyone? Okay, right. So let's write the flow chart. So after the note, you may write your question like this. Write the relevant pseudocodes. Write the relevant pseudocodes for the example 1. Write the relevant pseudocodes for the example 1. Within brackets, add in 2 numbers and display in the total. Add in 2 numbers and display in the total. And as I remember, we did it in 2 different ways. So it's better you write method 1, write this as method 1. And you can write the method 2 by your own, right? Right, so write the method 1, then say method 2, and convert this flowchart into a pseudocode. So how we are going to write the pseudocode to the method 2? We begin, we say input 2 numbers, and we can add as X and Y. And instead of this, I can take total equals X plus Y and display total, and we can end. Is that clear, everyone? Right. Okay, so write down this question. This is a new one, so you can try it at home. So say like this. Write a pseudocode. Write a pseudocode. Write a pseudocode. I'll write it over here so it will be easier for you to take it down. right? So this is the question. Write a pseudocode to display the total and the average of three numbers given by the user. So a simple sequence of program, right? So you have to take three numbers, add them, and we calculate the average. So then you can go. Right? Yes, Tesandu, I will show it to you. So complete it at home, people. We are going to discuss it by tomorrow, not tomorrow, actually next week. And we are going to introduce and we are going to get to know how we are going to tackle the if condition or the selection through the pseudo codes, right? So you can write the question and leave the session, right? So thank you very much. I'll meet you on next week for the very same time, right? So until then, go through your homework and get prepared. Tesandu, just give me a minute. When people are start to leave, I'm going to show you the other one. Right, everyone. Thank you very much.